let's talk about the amniotic band syndrome. And right after I received the news that, hey, it's a girl, I constantly asked her, are you sure? You sure? You sure? Because I didn't want a girl. I wanted a boy. I was raised around nothing but boys, so I feared having a girl because a girl would be like me. And I don't think I was ready for that. But after hearing the good news that I was having a girl and that I had to accept it, now that I know the Lord, it was God that told me to go back to the doctor. But I went back to the OBGYN and I asked them a question. They said, hey, why are you here? I said, I wanted to know if my daughter had 10 fingers and 10 toes. They said, huh? I said, yes. I wanted to know if my daughter has 10 fingers and 10 toes. So the lady looked at my ultrasound and she said, hey, I'm going to come right back. So since she left out and did not answer the question, I said, something's wrong. I knew something was wrong because if something wasn't wrong, she would have answered the question before she left the room. So I had to leave the appointment and wait on a call from my OBGYN. And once she called me, she stated that, hey, there is an amniotic band that's located in your ultrasound and you now have to see a specialist. I can no longer see you. So I left that office in a frenzy, trying to look up what an amniotic band was, and Google did not help. I Google a lot of things and my mind goes on a tangent, but I was trying to get some type of visual of what to expect an amniotic band is, or the amniotic band syndrome. So I was told that the appointment was coming up, and coming to that appointment was the moment everything changed. I went to the appointment and I had a male OB or a male specialist, and that was new. When I went into this office, the man barely said anything. He viewed my ultrasound for a couple of minutes and he did not say anything to me. No comfort, no anything. And then once he was done looking at the ultrasound, he told me to come to his office. Okay. So me and a family friend went to the office. We sat down. He said, okay, the amniotic band is wrapped around your daughter like a bubble. And in this video, in this picture right here, you see the sac. And how he explained it to me is a baby is formed in 2 sacs. Okay. Being that one sac ruptured, it was floating in amniotic fluid. The fluid formed a band, and this band wrapped around Abby like a bubble. And this is a picture of the bubble that's wrapped around Abby. This is the amniotic band syndrome. It moved everywhere Abby moved. And during my whole pregnancy, Abby constantly kicked and punched me. So how he explained it to me is that the band goes wherever your child goes. And your child's left foot has kicked out of it. Meaning it has cut off the blood circulation of her left foot. So I said, so what are you saying? He said, your daughter will not be born with a left foot. So when he said that, I just stopped. I said, what? So I just ran. I got up and I ran. I ran to the restroom. I just ran because I was not ready to hear that truth. After a long time of me having to calm down, I went back to the man's office and he said, I'm going to monitor this. You have to come weekly for updates just to know what's going on with the band prior to you giving birth. So honestly, after hearing that, I felt so depressed and stressed out that I didn't even want to tell anybody. And I didn't. I didn't tell nobody. Because I felt as though people would feel as though I did something, or, I did something to cause this. So I kept it to myself, and every week I would go, the band would attach to something else. So the band ended up attaching to Abby's arms, the band attached to Abby's organs, and the band attached to her other ankle. So the last report that I got from this specialist was, your daughter is not going to be born with any limbs. And although I received, recommendations of, hey, did you think about just getting an abortion? I turned it down. And I received a abortion, recommendation because of the stress that it was causing me. About, my child's not going to be, it's attaching to something else. Like, I was just so stressed. Okay. And I said, no, I'm not going to give up on my child because my mom didn't give up on me. My mom wouldn't have given up on me, so I'm not going to give up on her, no matter how she's born. Okay. So prior to birth, Abby had me in the hospital the whole month of March because she would move on this organ, she would move on that organ. I was constantly in the hospital. She had moved on, she moved on so many organs. She gave me hemorrhoids at one moment. She gave me a lot of stuff, and I was just constantly in the ER. To the point where I knew the ambulance by name. Like, every time they came and got me, I already knew who it was. Hey, yep, Abby's on something else. She's on this organ. Or I would find out later with the doctor what she was actually on, and how I had to be there until, they could discharge me. But on the 28th, when I came there at midnight, I was told that I'm going into labor at 27 weeks, and they feel her head in her hand. The midwife, or the nurse that was there, she then told me, okay, being that your daughter is about to be 27 weeks, she'll be born at 27 weeks. She'll only likely live 7 days, so just go home and try again. That wasn't an option for me, and I chose to stay there. I chose to still have hope. Despite what the results or how it looks, I still chose to have hope. And after giving birth to her, once I pushed Abby out, the doctor said, hey, would you want to hold her? I said, no, I don't want to hold her. And you can hear the whole entire room responded back with a loud, why? Like, everyone said it at one time. But no one knew what last report that I got from the specialist saying that my child was going to be born without any limbs. So I was scared to see her. And after giving birth to Abby, I had complications, which resulted in me waking up in the ICU. So Abby had already been flown to Augusta, MCG, so that she could be at the proper NICU that could undergo her amputation surgery. And relatives just took a picture of her for me to see her, and they were saying how before Abby was transported by air, she kind of gave them a wave, like, goodbye, like, she'll see you later. And that was just uplifting to hear. But God spared my life for my child. And I'm just so grateful. And when I think about the times where shame comes, and me caring about what people think and caring about how it looks to the world when she's having tantrums now that she's on the autism spectrum. I just got reminded that my child wasn't supposed to be here. So how dare me be ashamed of her? My daughter is so happy. Genuinely. This is really Abby. She always has a smile on her face. She always wants to give hugs. God gave me something special. God gave me a miracle. And then God in turn saved my life for her. And he saw fit for me to be strong, to be her mother. Abby is a miracle. And the amniotic band still has marks on my child. So Abby has marks around her arms. Abby has marks around her actual leg. Abby has marks around her stomach where the amniotic band tried. And if she would have been born full term, she wouldn't have had any limbs, or she probably wouldn't have lived. But she still has the marks of what happened in my stomach. So my daughter is a walking testimony. And I'm just here to encourage any parent not to be ashamed of their child, because it's a blessing that their child is here. And I thank God for my daughter, because I don't know where I would be without her.